Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, it's the hardest part of the ring. Backwards times you're distracting that referee. Babyface he has your wrestler pinned, and you get punched in a ring apron, and you realize all the trouble you're in when it's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Two more. Sometimes you reach out for the hot tag, and you go ahead and make your own comeback. Why do you do that? That's when you should quit wrestling, and you're better off rolling in thumbtacks. It's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, it's the hardest part of the ring. One more. Sometimes, yeah, what happens? What happens sometimes? Hang on. Oh, yeah. Sometimes you go over the top rope and you bang your head on the ring apron. Why do you do that? That's when you feel like a big dope. Because they're the worst bumps you can be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. It's the hardest part of the ring. Now, double claps. It's Extreme Rules, Bob Squad. And I did prepared the podcast as much as they prepared for the pay-per-view. Here we go. Are you ready? It's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Whoa. Yay. What is going on, Bob Squad? This is a pay-per-view edition of the hardest part of the ring, is it not? This is Extreme Rules. It is so extreme that we have one match instead of all of them with no rules. Yay. I don't know what happened here with the pay-per-view. What was going on with this pay-per-view? How is this even a pay-per-view? Oh, this feels like the go-home show to another pay-per-view. This pay-per-view feels to me like, what if, hypothetically, they had a bad pay-per-view? Well, it would be like this. It would be exactly like this. Let's jump into it. Now, I had to watch this thing in several chunks because I was, as you may know, I'm a stand-up comedian, okay? And this weekend at the Comedy Store in La Jolla, I got to feature for Jay Moore of SNL and Jerry Maguire fame and various other movies, television shows, podcasts, what have you. What a cool weekend for me! I've been the opener before, but now I got to be the feature at my home club and do 5 shows, 20 minutes each, and then bring up Jay Moore, the headliner. How much fun was that? Oh my goodness, absolutely tremendous. So I had to leave in the middle of Extreme Rules to go do the Sunday night, the last of the 5 shows, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, and 1 Sunday. So glad I did, and I had to just wait on the pay-per-view. I just couldn't do it. I said Extreme Rules is going to have to wait, and it did, and I did, and thanks to that wait, I think for whatever the next pay-per-view is, I will be waiting even more patiently with, goodness, I was not eager. So let's start at the top. There's a pre-show and the Peacock WWE network, the Peacock version here in the States. So there was some glitch where now, because there's always a problem with Peacock. There's always like I think Money in a Bank we missed like most of the men's match or something for the ladders. This one they played the English and Spanish commentators at the same time, so we just heard like 4 or 5 voices just yelling, and that's what happened when during the Carmella versus Liv Morgan match. I had to turn the sound down. It's very hard to listen to. Like I almost got a headache like right away. It was very like wow, that's what that sounds like. Okay. Liv Morgan defeated Carmella, which is probably good for both of them. I think Carmella is a bit of a slightly bigger star than Liv Morgan, so I think Liv needed it. Carmella will bounce back. Carmella can talk. She's got personality, and she's a heel. She'll be just fine. So it was good for Liv. I gotta say, actually, I'm gonna be a little shitty here. I know they're both better wrestlers than what they did on this match. Like I've seen them both do way better. There's this, I don't know, is there just a bad chemistry problem? It seemed like every strike and kick was just like missing way off, and a certain obvious waiting for each other for certain spots. I don't know, like that was because they're actually not. Neither of them's a really bad wrestler. I mean, Carmelo can be very entertaining. Both of them do have a little bit of that kind of light diva style, but I don't think it's too egregious. They're not unathletic people. Um, Maybe it's just because I've seen like you see like one of them will be wrestling Bailey, the other one will be wrestling Sasha Banks, for example, and even maybe that's it. Maybe they've just had better. Maybe they're just not quite at the level where they'd be good opponents for one another. I like them both just fine. I would love to just Carmella on a microphone can be very good. She said something very wooden and childish, and they clearly they wrote it for her, and it sounds like a second grader making fun of another second grader. Just about how pretty she is. I'm like, Carmella's actually more entertaining than that. She has been more fun than this on TV before, heel or face, whatever, good or bad, whatever the fuck you want to say. So I was kind of let down. I don't know what they couldn't remember what they told her to say. I'm good looking and you people are ugly, and it was and then Liv Morgan, you're ugly too. Like, well, Liv's like another hot chick, so it's kind of stupid. Yeah, maybe that turned me off the match. Okay, enough about the pre-show. Anyway, they got the audio thing fixed, and we start with a six-man. So we finally find out who the WWE Heavyweight Raw Champion will be fighting on this pay-per-view. He's in a six-man. The New Day, Big E, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston versus AJ Styles, Omos, and of course the Almighty Bobby Lashley. They're having a six-man, and this was pretty good. Five of these six guys were really good and are really great wrestlers, so no problems here. I think that did they go a little nuts with the false finishes at the end? Yes, of course they did, but that's fine because it was a six-man, and since the champion and the champion's still number one contender pretty much to this point, Bobby Lashley are in this match. Plus AJ's a top guy forever, and Kofi has been a champion before. They mention that when it's convenient, and then not. Uh, pretty much all stars in this match. Omos is going to be what he is. So I wasn't too surprised. Like, I felt like it was falling apart at the end. Like, they were just getting a little too crazy on the outside with the long setups for this dive here, that dive there, and Big E won the thing, and he pinned. I'm pretty sure he pinned Bobby Lashley. So they had some time where Kofi was taking a ton of heat, and I really thought Lashley was actually going to beat Kofi because the other guys just weren't around, or they did a good job of keeping him off camera. But Lashley's pounding away on Kofi, and one way or another, Big E gets the tag, hits his finish, and he has to beat Lashley. And that's just the thing. I mean, Lashley's established as being a top guy and a serious threat. Big E is not. Big E needs to win. He needs to win over Lashley. He needs to win over pretty much everybody for a while. I'm gonna guess maybe AJ Styles uh, for a post. I think Lashley will keep E busy for a little while anyway. So I don't know. I think they wrestled twice on Raw. I haven't watched Raw yet, but that's what it seems to be. So maybe that's over already. Anyway, we're gonna find out. The good guys win. Well, WWE has this thing in the last couple of years of just all of their top baby faces. It's like 50-50 booking, and then the good guy loses clean, and then everyone is sad. So for this, they're like, hey, let's just not make you sad. And I think that's what people enjoy about Big E's title run anyway. You're like, oh, okay, we're not sad. He's not everyone's cup of tea. Like a lot of folks think, oh, he's big, he should be angry, he should be a monster. Well, I think he's fine as is. He's got to get serious wins, and he's got to get mad at the right time. Obviously, if someone leaves Kofi or Woods laying angry, he should be angry, like 100%. And if they're messing with Big E, if they steal his championship title, his belt, he should be very angry. He should not be playing around. I don't know. I didn't see him on SmackDown how he acted when Corbin had his briefcase for like a week or two, whatever it was that was. But with that, I hope Big E was angry. I hope he wasn't just still laughing everything off. But Big E wins. The champion wins. People are happy. We have the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Usos wrestle the Street Profits. Oh, this was a forgettable TV match. These two are not good teams for each other. I think the thing is, much like the main event later on, with the Bloodline, the Usos, and Roman Reigns, we know Usos are definitely winning this. Nobody has a snowball's chance in hell for the Street Profits, just like they didn't have Mysterio or Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio or Rey and Dominic, the Mysterios, or the Mysterio family, Rey and Dominic. No one, everyone knew, like, it's not happening. So I think hope is gone before the bell rings. Montez was selling his ribs because they beat him up. The Usos did that double splash where they, from opposite corners, they splashed the guy in the middle of the squared circle, but it never hits. And there was a big Uso splash by one of the Usos that was really, really knee heavy. Like, he made pretty much no contact with the guy early on, and it just and they replay those things too. That's what I never get. They always replay those things. Is it just because it's the Usos? The double Uso thing is that splash. That every time they've tried it, usually they would save it for like a WrestleMania or something. It never works. It never looks good. And it's really. I mean, I know they're brothers, and they do better than most teams of pulling off that jump and land at the same time thing, which is so hard. But then they got to get next to each other, and they both got to land on a guy, somewhat make it look somewhat good. It just never works. I think it really just looks better when one guy hits a big bump, when one guy bumps the guy big, and the other guy does a splash. I'm like, just whatever, super kick, splash, whatever the fuck, just because they're good at the kicks. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've had two matches, and neither one is, and both are multi-men matches. So we need a great singles match to follow it. We need a back and forth classic that's going to wake them up, keep them energized. It's the Raw Women's Championship. It's Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss. Okay, I have a lot to say here. I was upset last week because I felt Charlotte did half of a great promo when she was tearing down Alexa, and then she no-sold everything Alexa said, and then beat the shit out of Alexa, left her laying, and destroyed the fake doll Charlie. Is that's correct? I think that's a pretty good summation of what happened. Um, and this is a classic example of WWE 50-50 booking, or in Charlotte's case, it's like a match, obviously, but Alexa should have been playing. This would have been the time to do spooky, a game or two in moderation, a wacky lighting trick or two, like but nothing, no hypnotizing or no zombies, no nothing like that. Just call them mind games, so it's not as offensive to the intelligence. Um, and Charlotte should be selling them, and there should be a bit of that. No, Alexa wrestled Charlotte's match. Alexa, I mean, she's a foot shorter than Charlotte, literally. Like, yeah, she should be beat up and be selling for Charlotte the whole time, and she was. Alexa got next to no offense, and Mr. Big Splash off the top. So they gave Alexa pretty much nothing. Uh, so Charlotte really kicked Alexa's ass here. Did nothing for her. And this match, even before we get to the aftermath, this match alone already furthered the pissing on Alexa's gimmick by Charlotte. It's bad. Because the thing is, they're not building a women's division to build stars. They're building women for Charlotte to knock down one at a time. They're not thinking about how they're going to have Charlotte make anybody. They're finding other people to come over, and make Charlotte further or continue making Charlotte. Yeah. I'm the biggest, I said this last week, I'm the biggest Charlotte apologist and the biggest Charlotte fan there is. She's been on TV for 6 years now. Non NXT, like Raw. 6 years. That was summer 2015, right? Yeah, that's bad. That's so bad. It's she's not gonna be. She could lose every match for months, and it's not gonna hurt her one bit. She's still Charlotte Flair. It's silly. So this match, just the way this match happened, already cut off Alexa's legs. Like, it was, I wasn't happy with it at all. I'm not even the world's biggest Alexa fan, but I think she gets a wonderful reaction. She's one of the best, maybe the best in the entire company at making chicken salad out of chicken shit, no matter what wacky ass thing they give her. She does knock it out of the park every time. Like, I can't, of all the wacky crap they give her, and I watch her do it, I'm like, well, I can't imagine anyone else doing it better, even if it's totally preposterous. I can't see anyone else in the company doing it better. Even Carmella, who I used to think her and Alexa were neck and neck in that respect, now I think Alexa would have even passed her. So I don't remember much about Charlotte beats her. The sunset flip the sunset flip thing Alexa did to her once in the middle of that melee. I think they're trying to establish that as a new potential finish. Okay, so that I remember Charlotte kicking out at 2 and not 2 and 7/8, just 2, 1, 2 out. Like, okay, she treated it like a suplex, like a body slam. Okay, never mind then. So Charlotte beats her. Did she tap her out? No, it was a natural selection. She did. She pinned her there, and Alexa had to lay there and sell. And then Charlotte decided to grab Alexa and beat her up some more, throw her over the table and into the barricade or whatever the fuck. And Charlotte destroys Lily. Now I hate that stupid doll, but it actually seems to be pretty popular. I was at a Raw a month ago, as we know, and there's kids are holding that fucking doll. People are buying it, and live she got a great reaction. So, and it really is the cornerstone of Alexa's gimmick. She's kind of like she's forced to change. And yeah, we would rather see the old Alexa, but I don't think it was quite time yet. She didn't go as high as she could, which would be win the title and have that run, and then everything should come crashing down eventually when she loses it. Maybe down the road, end of the year, Rumble. I don't know, Rumble-ish, Mania-ish, whatever the hell. But that didn't happen. So Charlotte tears the shit out of the doll, just stuffing everywhere. And then we have this long, and I had to fast forward it because it was just getting too crazy. We have this long, drawn out, uh, emotional breakdown of Alexa, which should have happened. Yeah, she should have crumbled. I mean, basically, it should be almost like her baby. Like, not to be too graphic or sad. This is a very jokeless pay per view. The hardest part that I'm doing for you guys today. I don't know. I want to use my brain today. I think I've goofed around quite enough. I did plenty of goofing in the classic Batmobile, Lego Batmobile TV fun boxing. So this is just on my mind. I'm trying to use a different part of my brain here and actually get a hold of what I'm watching because I'm watching wrestling change quickly and drastically in just a couple of months, let alone this whole year. And my mind is on where the hell is this going? Um, so yeah, so Charlotte could not have they could not have buried Alexa any further at all. I don't even see what else. They destroyed her gimmick and beat the shit out of her, and her mind games meant nothing. And she wrestled Charlotte's match, which is more of a subtle thing. I don't think most people fans would notice that. Not to be an arrogant ass, but um, I'm an ex-wrestler, so you notice these things. She's wrestling Charlotte's match, and it just didn't. Charlotte's match is her getting a ton of heat on someone, and that's that. So I don't know. You notice Charlotte didn't do that frickin' moonsault from the top to the floor with a 5 foot Alexa catching her. So that's point of interest and not no coinky dink. I guarantee if it was almost anyone else, Charlotte would be doing it. Okay, let's move on from that. And we have a 3-way for the U.S. Championship. Oh my goodness. Now that I think about it, at SummerSlam, it was Alexa doing all the wacky stuff with Eva, and then Sheamus and Priest had to follow it. So now this is Sheamus, Priest, and Jeff following Alexa and Charlotte. And once again, I think the crowd was just bummed. And the first half of this 3-way, I love matches starting slow. My favorite matches all start slow. But I don't think this started slow. I think people were actually just kind of sitting on their hands. It actually started off pretty hot. They were going in and out and hitting the barricade, and Jeff was jumping off the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. Eventually, did a bunch of near falls, and people were popping for him. That's the best. That's the most important thing. They're popping for all those near falls at the end, and they did. And Sheamus hit a bro kick on Jeff, I believe, and then got rolled up 1, 2, 3. And Priest wins. He retains his thing. He pins Sheamus. What else happens? Oh, at one point, Damian Priest was trying to do Sheamus's own 10 beats of the Bowery thing, but he fell off the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. Got back up and did it. It happens. Except that, it happened to Arn Anderson, but Arn Anderson is also 30 years older than Damian Priest. Oh yeah, Jeff and Priest celebrate, and they do each other's pose, and there's a mutual respect thing, and that was cool. No one has to turn heel on each other every fucking time. The swerve, bro, is just overbooked. The pay-per-view is just really underwhelming at this point. I'm sorry to say. There were two more matches, and these were the two matches that were the show, in my opinion. So let's talk about them. The SmackDown women, Bianca Belair wrestles Becky Lynch, and this is the first real Becky Lynch match. The 26-second one move thing, that's not a match. This is her first match, really, wrestling Bianca here. And I'm watching the first 90% of this match, everything up to the last couple of minutes, and I forgive all of it. Becky, at this point, let's say the match is maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes. Let's say the first 9 minutes, Becky has just outperformed everyone on the show. I liked Becky Lynch again for the first time in a long time. I'm like, okay, cool. Uh, every kick to the stomach and back looked good. Every one of those strikes, Becky connected with everything she did. She sold plenty for Bianca. She didn't make Bianca look like shit, Charlotte. She made Bianca's offense serious. She worked with Bianca. Bianca has all the back and forth stuff with that crazy long hair, the ponytail thing she's got going. Becky did stuff with that. Becky just didn't do Becky stuff. The only really Becky thing she went for was her finish, which is perfectly understandable. The disarmor towards the end, of course. And Becky worked with Bianca, back and forth, and let the babyface, pretty much have the heel's number. And Becky would only get the advantage when she would do something not necessarily underhanded, but there's subtle things a heel can do too. Not everything has to be blatantly breaking the rules. A heel can do little things where the ring and the referee are always your two weapons. Doesn't matter if it's a regular match where there's DQs and stuff. The ring and the referee are always a heel's weapon every single time. So you could have on a head, you could be a heel, you could grab a headlock, turn your back towards the referee so the referee can't see, and punch your opponent in the throat or whatever the hell. You quote unquote punch him in the throat. You know what I mean? And that's a weapon right there. That's why we need rules, something to break. The ring is the better example. Like, okay, the heel's getting bounced around. Heel tries to run away. Face chases him. The they would do. Braun Strowman would always, when he was a babyface, would always get hit with the same spot. He would always go for the shoulder in a corner and hit that stupid thing that used to be a ring post. Now it's a big lighting thing. Or he would crash into the steps of the big one or the barricades or whatever. But he would always do the shoulder thing. That was because the ring is beating down the unstoppable thing here. So in this case, Bianca, she's not a giant monster, but she's a house of fire, and she's got reason to be pissed at Becky. And we've established she's stronger than Becky. So there were little things they were doing. I can't remember anything specific now. Maybe it was the apron, maybe it was the barricade, the steps, the ropes. I forget. Maybe even Bianca's hair. Maybe that was a few of those spots too. But Becky was doing things where it was like, well, it was more like the ring kind of beat Bianca there for a second, and then Becky takes advantage with the boots and everything else. So she's still getting her shit in, but again, Becky wasn't doing many Becky Lynch moves. She's just she let circumstance and her cunning and her experience, because she is the more experienced wrestler of the two, be the thing to take out Bianca instead of just flat out being a crap of Bianca. And as we go to, the reason I said 90% of this match is because I don't think the length of the match was starting to do Becky any favors. There was kind of a double down near the end before they started going to the finish where Becky is breathing. And then they were running some ropes and buckles, and I think there was a little bit of rubber legs there. But whatever. I mean, that's understandable. And it was still an entertaining match back and forth. Bianca, I think, has Becky beat, and Sasha Banks returns. God love her, she returns, and this is what I loved about it. So simple. So simple. AEW, you used to get this right, and now you started fucking it up again with Pillman and MJF. Bianca returns, and I was so pleasantly surprised. She returned with a run-in that didn't have music and lights and pie and everything else, so that the two people in the ring can stop and stare and totally forget they're in a match and stop trying to defeat one another and wait for this big, long WWE fucking spectacle bullshit. Nope. From the viewer's standpoint, because you could hear the high pitched scream slowly getting louder, and that's way more exciting. Like, wait, what's happening? What am I missing? What am I missing? And then Sasha's just in the ring, and everyone's surprised, and she beats the crud out of Bianca Belair. Becky goes for like a weak fake handshake. Sasha beats her up too, and there you go. It's a DQ. He gets Bianca out of it. I'm sure Bianca and Sasha will have that match sooner than later. I mean, they'll probably work towards the three-way, I guess. But this was fun. I don't know why the pay-per-view is Extreme Rules at this point. But whatever, this was very good. We have one match remaining. The Demon Finn Balor wrestles Roman Reigns. One of the advantages I had with this pay-per-view is that, because I watched most of it not live, I can skip some entrances and some of these packages I'm always complaining about. You notice I didn't go off on them this time. I didn't really want to bother. But yeah, so I think it was almost exactly 3 hours, like 2:58 or something. I probably watched this 3 hour pay per view and not too much more over 2 hours. Skipping a lot of that, just like okay, get to the bell. But this package for Finn and Roman, I watched because I had no idea what the hell their feud was about. It seemed like everything was about Roman and Brock and blah blah blah. Anyway, it's very silly because it always comes back to the same problem. If this personality change makes Finn totally badass, even more badass and unstoppable, why doesn't he do it all the time? I still don't fucking know. I asked that question 5 years ago. I'm asking it now, and no one gets it. I mean, I don't get it. The announcers drilled home it was a personality change. And in the past, I remember the Demon wrestling a little bit different than Finn, and I didn't feel that here. I felt like it was Finn wrestling in makeup. The Demon used to have not different moves, but just a different, I guess I'm quoting them now, a more aggressive style. It was a little less polished. There were less running, longer spots. Like that kind of stuff was gone. There was almost no ground stuff. It was a little more reckless. Like I don't think he quite captured the magic. To be honest with you, I liked his last NXT run so much that when he came out in the makeup and started crawling around, it kind of looked silly. Like I was kind of like embarrassed for him. Like this isn't. I think the time for this has passed. It was great when it was what it was, but I think the time for this has kind of passed. It was just something to hang your hat on for this match. Anything to make this match a little sexier. Yes, sexier, not like that. And I think that's really all it was, just added to the gimmick of the match. And this was the one match on the show with extreme rules. You can use all the weapons, and they use the same three weapons they always use: kendo stick, chair, table. I think that's all of them. You know, they're two great. Roman Reigns is a great wrestler. Finn Balor is an outstanding wrestler. Good God. They start slow, but they have their great match. They do brawl around. Interesting note that before Roman, I love this. I don't know if he was trying to be funny or make a gimmick out of it, or if he was being semi-serious and still had to make a gimmick out of it. Before Roman goes into the crowd in Cincinnati, Ohio, or Columbus, Ohio, one of the C's in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, one of the three C's in Ohio, he sticks his hand out, and Paul Heyman gives him a mask, and Roman puts the mask on to brawl in the crowd. Now, I don't know if that was a serious Roman protective thing. We all know he took time off and missed last year's WrestleMania and missed 4 or 5, whatever number of months, because he's more at risk. Of course, we know the mask protects other people, and so is he. I don't know. Either way, put the mask on, and I think Pat McAfee played it up like, he doesn't want to breathe in the smell of all these people in Ohio, which is a very Bobby Heenan-like thing to say, and I appreciate whatever McAfee was trying to cover for us. It was a little uncomfortable, but kind of funny to see Roman, and Roman was the only one in the building wearing a fucking mask. So him and Finn Balor bounce each other off that glass announce table, which I thought Finn was going through, and I'm like, how the hell are they doing that? And he didn't. But then Finn does a high cross body off a platform, and then somehow there's a table right below Roman's butt, and they crash through a table there. So the loudest reaction of this match for the first half, notice this, and really the loudest reaction of the match, I guess not counting the finish, the people were chanting, "We want tables," and this is why it is so. This is the difference between a worker and a wrestler. A wrestler would have kept doing good wrestling. Roman Reigns pulls out a table and then puts it back under the ring and says, "You won't get any tables. There are no tables." Almost like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kindergarten Cop, going, "There is no bathroom." I mean, he wasn't imitating that like stupid Omega blatantly imitating Steve Urkel from Family Matters because Omega sucks. But no, Roman was basically telling him, no, you don't get it. And after all that chanting, and that's a worker right there. And that was the loudest reaction of the match, but up to the finish for good reason. And of course, later Finn will be the one to bring out the table, and he will, as the baby face, and he will get that cheer, and his cheer will be even louder. Because now it feels like you're doing it for them, even though you're going to do it the whole freaking time anyway. So let me get to the finish. Okay, if my memory serves me, I watched this 2 hours, no longer, like 6 hours ago. Jesus, time has flown. I watched this thing today. So the Usos attack Finn. No one comes out to help. Finn has no friends. It's no DQ. So that means everyone run out and break every rule you want to break. Who cares, right? So the Usos beat the crap out of Finn. And I think Finn got put through a table once too, and Roman gave him a super wedgie. So Finn's laying there, and then the lights go red, and we hear the heartbeat. And Finn, every time you hear the heartbeat, Finn has like a mini. Finn Balor, the demon, has like a mini spasm on the floor for some reason, like he's making something crazy happen, and we don't know why. And his music just starts playing at half volume, and Finn gets up and starts no selling the table he went through or something. It was just, why are we doing this? I don't know why we're doing this. So Finn mounts a comeback in that state on Roman Reigns. And if Finn goes to the top rope, he's going to hit the coup de Gracie and stomp on him off the top rope and win the championship. And even Paul Heyman couldn't sell this as well as Paul Heyman usually does. He's like, yeah, who am I fooling? We're not fooling anyone in this building. And then they did such a strange finish. The top rope breaks. The whole thing breaks. Finn Balor collapses to the ring, holds his leg, and the lights come back on. And the spooky music stops because the rope broke. But why was it playing to begin with? If the ring was broken before the match, would Finn have even been able to make his entrance? Does his music only play when the top rope is adequately taut? I don't understand. And then Roman gets up, spear 1, 2, 3. Roman wins. Show is over. Thank God. That feels last minute to me. That feels like no one had shit. That feels like no one had jack shit, and they're like, well, we gotta. I mean, I couldn't imagine protecting Finn's demon thing as a priority to anyone. Definitely not a priority over, you know, taking care of Roman before Brock in Saudi Arabia. Jesus, there's basically nothing more important than that right now. So, even though it sucks and I don't want to see, I don't watch the Saudi Arabia shows, by the way. So I'm not doing the hardest part of the ring on the Saudi Arabia show whenever it is. I don't care. I don't watch them. The only time I broke that rule was a couple 2 years ago. I specifically went out of my way to see the Goldberg Undertaker disaster, and that was it. I didn't even watch the Shawn Michaels comeback of the tag team he did with Triple H against Kane and Undertaker. I didn't watch that either. So no Saudi shows, no Saudi review, no Saudi Arabia reviews on the hardest part of the ring. If something really, really crazy happens, I'll find it and just watch that. If it's really a point of interest. Otherwise, probably not. Maybe I'll just watch Brock and Roman, but I don't know. I'm not stopping what I'm doing. Okay, not for that. So that was the show. This felt like a long go home Raw or go home SmackDown before a pay per view, not a pay per view. I don't know what the issue was. I'm grateful it didn't have. Well, actually, no, I skipped it. Maybe it did have a lot of stupid backstage segments and it didn't feel like a Raw. That's been a recent critique of mine with their pay per views as well. Stop doing Raw and SmackDown things on your pay per view. Do pay per view things. But whatever, I guess I'm not paying for it. I'm only paying $5 a month for WWE Peacock. And that's why we're getting audio in Spanish at the same time. Well, hasta mañana, mi amigos. Because it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, it's the hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.